everyone, it's Jai452 back again inside the land of cosplay, rummaging around and seeing what we can find on Inside Cosplay. Joining me this week is my very special guest, the one and only...
the Scottish Eliwood, or Scottish Ellie, wherever you prefer.
Hey Scottish Ellie, how are you today?
I'm fine, just the usual Scottish dreary day.
Yes, I can totally agree. I was freezing my butt off at 12 o'clock this morning. Yeah, very cold. So we're just going to jump right in there because, it's kind of shuffling on and we're both very cold. And I'm going to ask you, when did you first start cosplaying?
I first started cosplaying, it'd either be 2013 or 2014, I can't remember exactly. I think it was 2014 because that would be like my third MegaCon in Carlisle. It was mostly because I'd been there the first 2 years and seen like the people that had done amazing jobs at the cosplaying characters like Monkey D. Luffy, that kind of stuff. I think I'd seen a lot of Danganronpas the year before and thought to myself that I really wanted to do it. My first idea was to try and do Red from Pokemon because I was really into the first generations at that time. But then when it got near the time, I was like, I wasn't going to be able to do it, and so instead I decided to do Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece because I was enjoying it as well.
Awesome. Who or what inspired you to cosplay?
It was really, there was I can't remember what the documentary was, but it was like a whatever, it was to do about cosplay and people cosplaying about it, and it was kind of tied into like conventions that I just started going because I just found out about them about a year ago when I watched it. Now it just got me really interested. It's like yeah, I want to do that. I want to start dressing up as the favourite characters that I just want to show to the world.
Has there ever been is there any particular cosplayer that you follow either on social media or that you know in real life that inspires you to cosplay even further?
I would have to say the good old Henry Wu, because the stuff that he brings out, it just makes... After seeing his TK, I was like, I want to do a Digimon character now. Or that seeing his Kingdom Hearts one, it's like thinking, I could just do a Sora one day. I could do a Riku, that kind of stuff. It's like, or hell, even seeing his Yu-Gi-Oh one. I'm not a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh. I mean, I like it, but it's not one of my top. But it's like seeing his Seto Kaiba, it was just amazing.
He's a miracle worker, Henry.
Oh, yes.
So, interesting question here. This is where we kind of start to split up the questions a little bit. What has been the most challenging cosplay that you've ever done, both from the making of the costume and the acting side? Because there's a little bit of acting involved in cosplay, whether it be how a character poses, how they talk, how they might interact with somebody, or just generally how they even might move, So let's start with the making of the costume. To date, what has been the most challenging one that you've done so far?
It's kind of hard to say because they've all, in a way, been challenging. Well, besides Monkey D. Luffy, that was kind of easier, and it was kind of my first kind of step into it, so it was kind of chose him because it was easier. But I'd probably have to say a mix between my Eliwood and my Ranma Saotome. My Eliwood mostly because I had to deal with foam for the first time and having to hook it onto my shirt, but also painting the shirt. That took a lot of meticulous detail, like trying to get all the cuffs and everything, like the paint job right, and the shoes, trying to spray paint them. Oh god, it took 2 coats. It was, and then realising that I hadn't got the little yellow strip on it, so we had to get masking tape. Oh.
I can sympathise with the painting of fabric, because I've had to do that myself, and it is not easy.
No.
But, in saying that, because I use, actual fabric paint to do something, it's, in the paintbrush that I used, I got so much control out of it. I was able to say, right, okay, I want this paint part to come to here, and not have it overlap or anything, and that was something that I was really, really worried about. But the annoying thing is, the type of fabric paint I was using, you have to let it dry for 24 hours and then you have to iron it to lock in the colour. And I'm like, that is the annoying part. Like, waiting that 24 hours, because I was painting something 2 separate colours. So that's like 24 plus 24. And then that's only the front. And then you flip it around to the back. And it's another 24 hours either side, and you're like, I need to get this done, like, now. I just want to iron.
It was kind of like that for me, again, with the Eliwood. I decided that I was going to have it out for the Tokyo Toys, the Valentine's event that they did. And I realised that I'd left the shoes at my parents' house, and I'm not living at my parents' house at the moment. I'm up for college, so it's about 2 hours journey down. Then realised that, oh no, I don't know where to get foam in Glasgow. I don't know where to get the felt in Glasgow. I know where I can get it in my hometown, but not here. So I had to quickly say to them, I'm coming down for the weekend. I'll be bringing my stuff, with my cosplay stuff. We're going to get this done this weekend, and we did. We got it all done on the Saturday with letting the paint dry on this. Over to the Sunday, and it was all good after that, and it turned out all right. I think the foam could have been a little, well, no, it was good. It was just I just didn't hook it on correctly because it was kind of a rushed onto the shirt and then ready.
Awesome. So has there been any other cosplays that you've done that have been extremely challenging? Like you just kind of looked at it and went, I'm not quite sure how to do this one particular aspect, or I'm not sure how to do it overall.
Well, I've not done it yet, but I'm planning to do Ike from Fire Emblem again because I'm a Fire Emblem fan. And for me, it's trying to get his shoes, because from one of my pals who also does Fire Emblem cosplay, she's recommended book covers, and I have no idea how the hell to do them. I've looked up tutorials, and it's still a bit, it's like, oh god, what have I got myself into? But I really want to do them because I like Ike. And I mean, the rest of the stuff is alright. I know how to do that, like the shirt. I can paint it, I can add felt to it to make it so that it does look like Ike's. I mean, gloves, I can paint them, that kind of stuff. Add stuff to them. It's like, but it's just the shoes that I just know, and his cape, because it's jagged at the bottom, so that's going to be tough, having to stitch that together.
That'll be interesting to see, and I'm sure you'll get on fine with it. So let's go with the same question again and see what has been the most challenging cosplay that you've done to date, but from an acting standpoint. And to make this question a little easier, so let's see, we all have those characters that we can cosplay as that are very close to our own personalities. Which one for you have you done that has been so far removed from what you're like as a person that you've just kind of went, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off?
In a way, Wario, because although for me, Wario's always been a character that I've just enjoyed. I've just enjoyed his personality. It's not like me at all. He's greedy, he's fat, he just does everything for himself, which is not like me at all. And I know how to act like him. I've still got the voice down a little bit. I know it's famous, "Oh, I missed," and the other quotes from him. But it was when I was at the convention that I went back in 2015. 2015. It was kind of hard because although I knew like how his moves from the games, it was like some of them I just couldn't do because his butt stomp. I was not going to constantly do that around the convention and whack my bum off the ground.
That would have been interesting to see.
Yeah, to the point where when I was going to do it, I stopped myself quickly and put my feet down before hurting my bum.
Okay, so has there been any other characters that you've considered doing, and you just kind of thought, oh, I'm not entirely sure how to do that character because like there could be a lack of representation on them in like animated or live action media? Like, have you ever done a character that was just like a written form and you're like, I'm not sure how to quite act that character?
In a way, Eliwood's like that, in a way, because although now he's got a voice in Fire Emblem Heroes, and it's like there's this sort of, but he's never actually been like animated in anything at all. It's just been kind of the artwork, and I've seen his sprites from the games, and I know how to do them besides the backflip. And I mean, and another one again, Wario. That's another one. And Ranma told me in a way because he's kind of sporadic in how he acts. He acts like one way to this character, but he also acts this other way to another character, and it's kind of hard to. And then there's his fear of cats, which is allophobia. So once he sees a cat and he gets cornered, he acts like a cat himself, and it's. I did do that for the Icon Winter Masquerade, and a lot of people were really confused from the looks of it. They gave me a clap, but they were very, very confused, and I had to explain to my pals, that's why I did that, that's why you're confused, now never ask me again.
Okay, so moving on, we've got a similar question as last time, except this time we're going to apply it to both yourself and people who might approach you seeking help. Okay, so let's start with yourself. In your opinion, what is the most difficult thing or character to cosplay as, both from the making of the costume and acting as the character? So let's apply that to yourself. In your opinion, what do you feel is the most difficult character or cosplay creature? Because sometimes we do get people who do creatures, like I've seen multiple Facebook videos with someone who did like a bat and it extends its wings up like really freaking high, and I'm like, how would you act that? You know, like how can you act this kind of bat creature? So in your opinion, what would you not approach without doing a crap ton of research kind of thing?
Well, I mean, for me, if it was because I'm a huge, again, I know Fire Emblem. I love this franchise. Them definitely, you need to look a lot into the personality. Like try and get a feeling of how they act from their voice acting, from how the dialogue is, like how Eliwood, for instance, how he acts towards Lynn. It's very caring, again, and like to his wife Ninian, or multiple wives. But he's a lot different towards like other characters like Hector. He's like a bit like, it's like, oh yeah, you're my best friend, and it's like, you know, it's like he fights with them, but it's like kind of like, you know, it's a bit like, oh, you know, it's like he puts up with them in a little way. That's how I got it from. I mean, Monkey D. Luffy, you have, it's like him, you have to get down it. I'm going to be king of the pirates. You know, you have to be very eccentric, very, very full of yourself. You know what you're doing. And then from making them, you have to. What's
something that you wouldn't attempt to do? Like,
oh, sorry.
In
terms sorry. Am I getting confused?
Yeah. Like, and when I'm saying that, in your opinion, what is the most difficult character or thing? It's maybe something that you wouldn't attempt straight away, you know, kind of thing, like something that you would need to do quite a bit of research for. So is there any particular character or creature that you wouldn't do right away because you would look at it and go, right, I need to do at least this amount of research, or maybe I don't necessarily have the skill to make that piece of costume kind of thing? Like for me personally, I wouldn't do anything that has armor because I don't have that kind of skill set, and I don't have the skill set to make like a prosthetic headpiece or something. So things like that. Is there anything in particular for a particular character that you would just go, I would need to like get my skill set up on that, or I would need to learn how to do that?
Probably it'd be like one of the Cuphead characters, because I mean a lot of them are, it's like obviously cartoony and like kind of, yeah, but I'm not kind of the, like some of my favourite characters in that are the animal ones, like Wally Warbles or Warren Aware Man, and I'm not kind of the person who would do more animal characters. I'd rather do the humans, if you know what I mean. So there's kind of like, it's like, well, how would I represent them? Like, I know they look human in the game, but how would you represent them in a cosplay? It's like the same, like,
very difficult
with them, like, especially or a Pokemon. Although I'd love to do a cosplay of like a humanized version of Marshadow, I'm going to really need to look into how like how I would design it, how to make it look like it's fluffy, like it's that kind of like almost like it's a cloud, that kind of thing. That's
difficult. And that's just from the making standpoint. Like that's difficult in and of itself. So let's do the same question again and say from the side of an acting point, like how is there any particular characters or cosplay creatures that you just go, I don't know how I'm going to act that, so I'm going to have to put it on the back burner until I figure that out?
Again, it'd probably be Marshadow, because I would like, because after seeing the Pokemon I Choose You film and how Marshadow was shown in that, it really made me like that Pokemon, and that's why I wanted to look into more of how to do it. But it's kind of like showing off its kind of personality, because it acts a little mischievous, and it's like you don't quite know exactly, and it's like what it's really planning. So it's really hard to kind of get a grasp of what its personality is, and the games don't really help, because you may see it move when it does like one of the moves in Pokemon, but you don't really get a feel for it in that.
No, you don't. Okay, now let's do the same question again, but in regards to when somebody's coming to you asking for advice, what is something that you would maybe say to them, well, you could do this one, but I'd research this, and this. So what is a cosplay character or creature that you would advise doing your research on?
For other people, I would say, look, if you want to do Fire Emblem characters, really look into them. Because like some of them can have no armor at all. Like the magicians, the mages, that kind of stuff. Those you can do them if you're good with felt, and other materials. That's fine. But really look into it, especially if it's armor like Hector, because it's like 99% armor and like 1% actual clothes that he's got on. It's that kind of, you'd really need to that, and then personality wise, you'd probably have to do that, is look into that as well. Like, just kind of have that in the back burner, not when you're making your costume. That's what I usually I like if it's, I usually look into them both at the same time, just so I make sure I'm getting everything right.
Okay, so there are two types of Comic-Cons that we can go to throughout the year. There are the big once-a-year ones, and then there's the smaller, more local ones that happen every 2-3 months. Out of those two, which do you prefer going to the most? Do you like the big once-a-year ones, or do you prefer the smaller, more local ones? Or do you like a blend of the two?
It's kind of hard, because I like both of them. Originally I started with the smaller one, and then it was only last year I finally went to one of the bigger Comic-Cons, like MCM Glasgow. So I really liked it, but it was just, it didn't, in a way I didn't feel as like some people were as nice as they were at the local ones. So I'm kind of tied between the both of them, actually.
Would you agree with me when I say the bigger cons are great for the likes of celebrities and such likes, and getting to see people that you wouldn't normally see, that you talk to on social media, but they suffer from what I like to call a New York minute. Like, you get a chance to speak to somebody for less than a minute, and it's like normally the conversation goes along the lines of, "Hi, nice costume, bye." And that is the sum total of your conversation. Whereas a smaller con, you can have that much more time with somebody and you can sit and talk to them and say, oh, how have you been doing? I love your costume. How did you make this particular part of the costume light up? Or how did you do this part of the costume? You can really sit and have a conversation with them other than just the kind of, hi, how are you, goodbye.
Yeah, I can actually agree with you with that. That's what it feels like to me. It's like although I'll see pals who go to like both small conventions and big one, like one of my pals, she goes to the MCM Comic Con and MegaCon in Carlisle, and usually when I see her at MCM Glasgow, it is that I can like, oh hi, how are you doing? You know, oh I'm fine. Then after that we kind of go our separate ways. Whilst it's at MegaCon, it's mostly like we'll meet up like when it kind of starts, and I'll be talk through the whole convention. Like we'll be kind of be side to side together, just going around, just seeing what we can see, and then usually just sitting down and chatting again.
I think that's what kind of slightly bothers me about the bigger cons as well, is that everyone is always so busy. You know, you get called for photo shoots 90% of the time, and it's like, I just wanted to have a 5-minute conversation with this person. Just 5 minutes is all I need.
If you're Eliwood, and it's maybe one or two people get asked to get your photo. And actually, the most photos I got was at one of the smaller cons. Is Eliwood, the first time I brought them out. And even though somebody didn't know who it was, they said, "Oh no, we're just taking a photo because you like your cape."
I remember the first time I did my gender bent Harley Quinn, and I did my classic gender bent Harley Quinn. I couldn't take 5 steps. I literally could not take 5 steps without somebody wanting a picture with me or somebody wanting to take pictures. It was insane. Utterly insane.
That's kind of understandable. I mean, Harley Quinn is quite a very popular character. I mean, both classic and...
I think it was mainly because mine was so close to her original design. I mean, it had variations, obviously, because I wasn't running around in a jumpsuit.
God.
Just, no. I mean, I'm relatively in shape. I'm not that in shape. So it was just basically like a pair of black trousers with red diamonds sewed into them, and a Joker. I think it was a Heath Ledger Joker T-shirt, and a handmade kind of almost dinner coat like jacket, but it was long tailed. But it was half and half. It was like red and black all the way around it, and it had a nice big PVC white collar on it. And obviously my face was done up, and I had my hair kind of not like this, but kind of messy. And it was so amazing that a lot of people were wanting a picture of that in particular. And there was like 5 other male Harleys there, and I got the chance to speak to one of them. And I said, "Have you been stopped much today?" And he's like, "No, I haven't been stopped at all." And I'm like, I can't take 5 freaking steps. So, and that was my first Comic-Con as well, and I was like, well, if this is what it's going to be like, well, I better pick a really shitty cosplay next time so I can walk. But yeah, it's a definite experience. I mean, if you do pick a character that is extremely well known, be prepared for that kind of thing, guys. You know,
Yeah, like the first time I cosplayed as Monkey D. Luffy, and the only time I was hugged by somebody. They came up to me and went, "Oh my God, Monkey D. Luffy, I love you," and hugged me. And it was a male as well, so it's like, okay, this is happening. Didn't expect that within 5 minutes.
Yeah, you've definitely got to be prepared for all that kind of stuff as well, because the most recent con that I did in Glasgow was MCM. And I was doing my newer version of the Suicide Squad Harley. And I remember I'm walking along with one of my friends, and, well, 3 of my friends actually. And I just hear this massive, "Jai!" And I'm like, fuck. You know, I turn around and my friend is running towards me, and she's in this wedding dress, and she's got like red and blue all smeared all over it, and she's got her hair done and all the rest of it, and she just grabs me in this massive hug, and the only thing I could think was, holy crap, I'm being attacked.
Help! Help!
You know?
Somebody help!
Crazy lady in a wedding dress. And if she's watching this interview, she's going to kill me. But I love you. Not
It's
a
all,
crazy
it's all,
person.
it's all in fun and games. That's
But at first I didn't know who it was that was like calling for me. And as soon as I kind of like slightly looked at her while she was hugging me, I was like, oh, hi. Hi.
for me at MCM. That was like the second last con of the year for me. I'd met my pal who does Colin from Fire Emblem on the Saturday, and I went to the manga section because I thought I might go and get a manga because I was looking for ones that I hadn't got, and then all of a sudden I felt a hand on the back of my on the back, and then kind of hauled my cape and my collar, and I turned around and it was my pal. He asked me, "Where the hell were you off to?" And I said, "Well, I was just having a look around the con."
One of my other questions, this kind of ties into what we're talking about here. When you're doing any of these two events, what is the one thing that you're most excited for? And the one thing that you either still do or used to find the most nerve-wracking? So, since we've already been kind of speaking about our experiences at cons, I would say for me one of the most exciting things has to be meeting up with those friends that you don't get to see too often, you know. I'm always excited to see what they're doing. Is that something that's similar for you, or do you have another thing that you're really excited about?
It's similar in a way, but also I do get kind of excited for the cosplay competitions. Like, 'cause it's kind of like, it's like, right, yes, I can show off my acting, I can show off my costume. You know, it's like, yeah, I don't care what happens. If I win, I don't care. I just want to do it for the fun. But then when it gets near the time, it's like I just start getting really nervous, and it's like, oh no, I keep thinking, have I done my going around in my head? Do I know my routine? Do I know what I need to do? Is anything going to muck up? Is it that kind of stuff? It's for me, but that's just because I like doing them. To be honest,
for me, I would say not a whole lot really is nerve-wracking for me anymore when I do it. And even when I first started, I wasn't nervous, you know. And I think the reason for that was because I had X amount of years working in a stage production group. So any being on stage fear had left me by then. Because I remember having to perform on stage, and I remember even having to sing solo, and it's not, to me, it's like, psh, right, audience, underwear, I'm good to go. You know, that age-old kind of proverb of just picture the audience in their underwear.
Yeah, that's because, well, for me, I do like to act, and I can do it, and I can do it well, especially imitating people and kind of the way they act. But I haven't done it since S2, and it's just like the stuff that they did, the musicals at my school, but it was nothing that I was really wanting to do. Unless it was the Rocky Horror Picture Show, then I would be right in there. That's the only musical I would genuinely just don't care. I would just do it. So acting again after kind of not doing it until about when I was in fifth year. It was kind of like, oh, you know, the nerves came back again. They weren't there before, but they came back.
You've kind of just made me think of that song from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, "Touch Me," and it's a very specific version. Whenever I think of that song, I always think of the same version that I've heard of it. I don't know whether we've got any Buffy fans out there.
I used to watch it when I was younger.
Believe it or not, there was a big live show over in the States where we had Giles there, so Anthony Stewart Head, and Amber Benson, who played Tara, Willow's girlfriend from the later seasons. I can't remember what song Anthony Stewart Head did, but Amber Benson sung "Touch Me," and I kid you not, it's like one of the best things ever to watch. Like, if you get it, guys, if you do get the chance, go look it up on YouTube. It is there for the world to see. She does a great number. At one point, she does get a little bit breathy, out of breath, because she's obviously running about the stage. Which, coincidentally, if you're a singer, don't do that. It's an easy way to lose your breath. But if you want to sound raspy while doing your song, then feel free. But it's such a great song, and it popped into my head when you said Rocky Horror Picture Show. I'm like, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Touch Me, Amber Benson. That's how my brain worked there. Okay, so you can mention taking part in the cosplay competitions, or cosplay masquerade as they're called over in the UK. What has been running through your head when you've been taking part of them, and have you ever won anything at said competitions?
Unfortunately, I haven't won anything. The only time I've won a cosplay competition, as in a sense, was at the Tokyo Toys New Year's event, where I brought out my Wario cosplay again and taped fire to my bum because it was supposed to be fireworks. Because if for those who don't know, Wario, instead of getting power-ups, transforms into things. So if he gets bit by a bat, he becomes Vampire Wario. If he gets plunged into snow by a snow droplet, he becomes Snow Wario. And with when he touches fire, he becomes Fire Wario, and he gets fire in his bum, and he starts running about all over the place, and even had the music to go with it.
Awesome. So what was running through your head when they called you up and said you won for being Wario of all characters?
I actually didn't hear them to begin with. I was talking with a pal who was about Fire Emblem, because I was saying that I was working on Eliwood at that time, and she was saying, "Oh, I really want to do Azura," and she did actually do it for MCM Glasgow. And it's like that. Then it's like all of a sudden, it went quiet, and they just looked. The girls were running Tokyo Toys looked to me, and it's like, and they said you won. And it's like, wait, really? I didn't know. It was just so shocked. It's like, how the hell did I win? I'm pretty sure there was other people who had better cosplays on than me.
Do you know I did the exact same thing during a Halloween competition? I was doing patchwork Harley Quinn. And it's kind of like amalgamation of Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas and Harley Quinn. And I was actually filming the thing all on my video camera so that I could upload it to YouTube, which I don't think I ended up doing. I'll need to find the footage for that someday. But I'm filming it away, and I'm looking at all the people they're calling up. They called up a girl who was dressed as a character from Kill la Kill, got second place. And in first place there was a girl dressed up as Mulan, but it was Mulan when she was Ping. And I remember speaking to her, and the girl was so on point because she was in character the entire time. Like when she'd introduce herself, she'd say, "Oh, I'm Mulan. Oh, I'm Ping. I'm Ping. I'm Ping." You know, and I was like, that is just so awesome. You know, she's so on point. She hasn't broken character at all. And then they said in third place we'd like to welcome to the stage again Patchwork Carly. And I'm looking around like, is there another Patchwork Carly here? My friend who's with me is like, that's you! Go! So weird. But so gratifying as well. So my next question for you is, in your opinion, what are the best and the worst things that new cosplayers can do when they're preparing to go to a Comic-Con event?
Pack a lot of food with you, because cons can be expensive. I usually, for myself, I personally will pack about two sandwiches, a couple of apples, some crisps, a couple of biscuits, just to keep myself going. I hardly eat anything during the day, but it's just there in case I really do get hungry. And remember to eat, because at my first MCM Comic Con, I was told by a friend, have you eaten yet? And I said to them, no. And this was about 1 o'clock. It's like, oh my god, you need to eat something now.
I have friends like that. I have family members like that. I think one of the best things that I'm just going to add to that while you're saying about eating, depending on the type of cosplay you're doing, guys, make sure you carry bottles of water with you.
Oh, yes.
Specifically, if you're doing an armoured cosplay, like I've seen people doing Iron Man and Halo characters that are in full body armour. And when they pop their masks or they pop their whatevers, their helmets, they're literally having the sweat drip off them. You know, and you just see that and you think, how are you surviving in that? You know, so make sure you're very well hydrated if you're doing a costume that literally will cover your entire head, because you will heat up.
Well, if you've got a wig on, that can also help with heating you up as well. I've found that out a few times.
Yeah, like depending on how long you're going to be there, guys, during the course of your Comic-Con day, take breaks as well. You know, like we're saying about popping masks and helmets and such likes. If you need to go and pop your wig and you're worried about how you're going to look, because like wearing a wig, you have to sometimes wear a hairnet thing. It's called a wig cap. Just excuse yourself to the nearest toilet and take the wig off in the stall if you don't want anyone to see it. I mean, it's what I would do. Just sit there and be like, oh, my head.
I don't really need one of those wig caps because my hair is usually short and it suits me quite short. So if I need to take any wig off, I can easily take it off without anybody seeing a wig cap. So it's just like, but for me, it's usually a bit of a kind of waft, like get a piece of paper or something, kind of waft myself to kind of get myself a little cooler, then pop the wig back on, and then can maybe go outside or something.
Generally, the wig cap is a good idea, and I'll explain to you later why, kind of thing. So one of the worst things I can see is definitely not knowing the location that you're going to, like not researching it beforehand. I would say just familiarise yourself with the floor plan of the building. You'll know where the exits are in case of emergency, know where the toilets are, you know, in case you need to get dressed. I mean, if you're not fortunate enough to live close to the con place or location, you need to know where you can get changed and then get changed back into clothing as well. Like, get changed into your costume, change back out of it. What would you recommend, Ellie?
Well, for me, I've done that before. Well, actually, for MCM Glasgow, I knew where the SECC was. I knew how to get there. Sort of. I thought I did my research. I thought like a couple of days before. I thought, right, I'll look up the bus plans. Like, see this. Oh, I can get this bus here. It's not far from my accommodation. That'll be okay. I got there, and then when the bus should have showed up when it did. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't go near the SECC on Saturdays. So I had to get onto the next bus and then just go from Central Station and walk there. And then the next day I thought of the con. I thought, oh, I'll just be smart. I'll just walk my entire way there. 40 minutes. I'm not joking. It was 40 minutes. And then this year I found out. My mum said, "Oh, did you know you can? You're not going to like this, but did you know you can get a train to the SECC and it only takes like 5 minutes?" And it's like she told me my reaction was like, it was like that. What the fuck? Say, I walked 40 minutes when I could have got there in 5.
Yep, I completely get that.
And I got blisters after that con because I didn't realise until after the con that my shoes were too small, and walking about in them all day caused blisters to show up on my feet. It was not fun.
No. Alright, so that being said, guys, just be sensible when it comes to events like these. Get to know the location that you're going to. If you're travelling in, maybe an idea to go up the week before the con and just know the location, kind of thing. Like, go, oh, right, this is where it is, kind of thing. Also, if you're going to a con yourself, just make sure to tell somebody where you're going, or have a cell phone with you that necessarily isn't for like taking pictures or anything, because those phones will go flat on their batteries, guaranteed. or if you're fortunate enough to have a charger point for your phone, make sure you take that with you. You can at least get another charge into your phone, kind of thing. But do have a separate phone if you're fortunate enough to do that you can just easily contact people on if required. Okay, so moving on. Age differences in Comic-Cons. Now, for me, age differences is quite a multitude of different questions, but let's start with a nice, easy one. When it comes to deciding what cosplay you're going to do you gear said cosplay towards a specific age group, or is it something that you always want to do?
It's never towards an age group. It's mostly what I want to do. I mean, depending on the character's age like the actual character itself, I will kind of put that into consideration. Like I personally wouldn't do like say Ash from Pokemon because he's supposed to be 10 years old. That's not the kind of thing I'm looking for. Eliwood's like almost 20, so that's kind of reacts. It's kind of what my age is at the moment. So it's all right. Like that. Although saying that I have done a Pokemon trainer before, and it was Platinum, but that was just because I wanted to do it and I was a little younger. So.
For me, I always tend to find it's really interesting. Whenever I do a particular cosplay, I always see a particular age group gravitate towards it. And it's always either, like for the Batman cosplays that I've done, I always get roughly around my age group. Like early teens to my age group kind of thing. And when I did Elle from Death Note, I was really surprised to get 2 little girls approach me for a photograph. So that really, really surprised me. And these girls kind of only have been, really early teens, like maybe 11 at the most, like the oldest one. The other one could have only been about, 6 years old or something. And I'm like, I'm really surprised and a little scared that your parents are letting you watch Death Note. Just saying.
I think I was just going to say, I actually have this, when I've been on my Wario, I do get a little more younger children. It's like the parents are like, oh look, there's Wario, and then I'll do, like, I kind of do the kind of the, what are you looking at? That kind of stuff to them. It's like, or it's like little children, like I'm actually quite good with children, so it's like if they've got like their Five Nights at Freddy's cosplay on, I'll act like I'm not scared, and then make them get me, then act like I'm scared, like when they try to jump scare me, that kind of stuff. So it's like always saying, it's like, it's like the really good cosplay, just kind of encouraging them and their parents, because cosplay to me is just, it can be any age. It doesn't have to be young or old.
Exactly. So. Interesting little factor for you. I remember when I met Sean Astin one year at a Comic-Con event, and obviously you had various people dressing up as certain things from Sean Astin's career. And there was these 2 people that when I went round to see Sean Astin that were dressed up as Aragorn and Arwen, and I didn't twig to who they were immediately. I thought they were just Renaissance characters, and I thought, just Renaissance people. Then I seen the even star on her neck, and I was like, Aragorn and Arwen. But that's not the coolest thing. So as I'm kind of sitting up in the stands, I see this woman carrying around a little baby who could not have been like more than 2 months old, a month to 2 months old. So still very, very young. And I was like, you know what? I've seen toddlers here today. Big deal. Two maybe 1 month old baby, not a big shocker. And then I got a closer look at the baby. She had it dressed as a hobbit, and I'm like, that is the cutest thing on earth. And it was kind of like people were setting up oddly enough for the cosplay masquerade, and I'm like, right, if that baby's entering, nobody else is winning, because baby, awesome, brilliant. But it does go to show, regardless of age, anyone can get involved in cosplay. And coincidentally, I have a friend who is over in the States, and she is letting her young daughter pursue cosplay like stuff, and she's like still relatively quite young. Like I'd say she's maybe 4 or 5 years old, and the stuff that she's wanting to do is really, really advanced. And I'm like, you know, I wish I have a child one day that's as creative as this. And the sheer fact that she's encouraging this is just so great. Okay, so interesting question for you now. When it comes to cosplaying, you kind of already slightly touched on it with your Eliwood cosplay. You were saying that that character is quite close to you in age. Are you using your age as an advantage at that point then? Like, are you kind of saying, right, well, I'm going to stick to characters that are kind of close to my age? Or would you be willing to do a character that is maybe multiple years older than you? Like, say, we live in the UK, so let's talk about Doctor Who, like one of the older Doctors, like say the third Doctor or something. Like, would that be a Doctor that you would consider to do as a cosplay, or would you just say, nah, I'll stick to the ones that are closer to my own age?
It would depend really, because it's like I'd be alright maybe going older than myself, you know, but it's younger. It's just like it's a bit of a you know, it's going to look strange. Like if I'm doing like say if somebody who's supposed to be 5 years old, it's like it's not going to look right. It's like almost a full grown man going around as a child. It just doesn't look right, if you know what I mean. Like I just don't think it would fit well either. Whilst older, like I could easily just make my hair look grey, you know, like kind of using all those kind of tricks you can to make it look older. Then like have somebody help with like kind of like face paint and makeup and that kind of just to kind of make it look like my face is a little older, that kind of stuff, you know, like wrinkled, that kind of stuff. You know, I can get around that, but younger, it's just like no, it's a bit of a stretch, and I don't really want to do that.
Awesome. Okay, so moving on from the age groups, let's talk about the one thing that all cosplayers love and hate: props.
Oh boy.
So, props fall into two different types of questions again, and one question is kind of categorized, so we'll take that one first. For me, props fall into two categories and then three subcategories. The two categories go: it goes to a Comic-Con, it goes to a photo shoot. Three subcategories: 1, this prop is massively large. 2, this prop is mediumly large. And 3, this prop fits in my pocket and I'm good to go. Or bag or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, obviously it depends on the type of cosplay you're doing. But out of those three categories, which is the most likely that you would take to a Comic-Con event?
For me, it would be either the one that can fit in my pocket or the medium one, because really my Eliwood sword isn't that big, and none of the other swords that I ever want to make, or any other props, I don't want to make them too huge. Like how you see some people that do Harley Quinn, that they bring the huge mallets with them. It's like how you're going to throw out your back carrying that around all day. So I'd rather just keep it kind of medium size. Like make it look like it needs to, but have it kind of enough so that I could just put it in like in my belt or something. You know, like just kind of have it kind of sitting on my belt like a sword would, or in my pocket like the Pokédex or a Pokeball from Pokemon.
Awesome. So let's talk about when it comes to just a photo shoot. Is like a lot of other cosplayers, are you in a similar mind by saying anything goes? I mean, I'll bring any size of prop when it comes to just a photo shoot that isn't necessarily at a con. Yeah,
because I mean, if you got a photo shoot, it's kind of it's not as you don't have to go through multiple people to get where you want to, so you're not having to bang into people with big props or like medium sized props. You know, cause like my Eliwood sword has bumped into. I've whacked people by accident with it when I've just been trying to turn the corner. I've had to say sorry to them because I don't mean to do it, because it's just kind of sitting at my waist, so it's very, and it's long as well, so it doesn't help. Or if I'm trying to go down to the ground, it kind of gets in my way. But photo shoots, like yes, you need to pose into them, but you're not like if with a sword, you're not going to have it at your side. You're going to have it in your hand. You're going to be trying to reenact like you're swinging it, or you're going or you're going to be acting like you're throwing your Pokeball, looking at your Pokedex, that kind of stuff, or looking at a map, those kind of things. It could be anything. So they're not going to be sitting next to you. You're going to be using them in some way, shape, or form.
Okay. So when it comes to props in general, do you tend to make your own prop from scratch, buy it in and customize it, or just buy it in ready-made?
It's kind of a mix of the first two, actually. Like my prop Pokédex, I actually made myself out of the cardboard, and card from my sketch pad, because I was able to get a really good look at how the Gen 4 Pokédex looks, and because I realised, it's just the shape of a DS, I was able to quickly sketch it out and put in all the details that I needed to, and then cut it out, and then use double-sided tape to tape it onto my DS for the day, and even loaded up Pokemon Diamond so it looked like I did have my Pokédex up and ready. Whilst the Pokeball and the Glaceon, they were bought in because I couldn't make them, and I forgot to bring my Pokeball from home, so I had to buy a new one. And my Eliwood sword is actually borrowed from my little brother and repainted. It's actually a sword from a castle, I think Anik Castle, and we painted it with paint that you can use on wood to make it look like it did. And the jewel was actually added later, again used from card in my from one of the pages in my sketch pad, and then taped on with double-sided tape. So because it was clear enough that you couldn't really see it, and it made it look like the jewel was actually on the sword itself.
Awesome. So my next question for you is, what opportunities has cosplay opened up for you away from being in like an actual Comic-Con event or in costume?
It's actually given me a lot of friends, like a lot of people that have the exact same interests as me, like yourself, Henry Wu, a couple other pals. You know, we've all met up because we've got one thing in common, and they've also kind of invited me to other stuff. Like one of my other pals, she had a birthday meet up, so she got me. It was to do with cosplay, but it was just because what she's really into it. It was really fun to meet up with them again. You know, have a laugh, just have fun.
Awesome. So my next question for you is, what are your next 3 cosplays? So who you're going to be at your next event, somebody that you're working on, and somebody that we might see maybe middle of the year next year kind of thing. So who are you going to be at your next event? Next
event, which will be Capital Sci-Fi Con, I'll likely be Ranma Saotome, but I'm still a bit on the fence because I'm almost done my Roy cosplay. I'm just waiting on my dad to help me make the sword, and that's really me. And the rest of the stuff, I can quickly, not quickly, but I can do it in the holidays when I'm back home. And I have the time for it. I just need to order a few things off the internet. So it'll either be Roy or it'll be Ranma Saotome again.
Okay. Who is somebody that you're working on that we might see mid to early 2018?
That'll likely be my Ike cosplay, because I'm going to be starting that quite soon. Like after I finish my Roy, that's when that should be done around June time, and that ready for SunnyCon actually.
Awesome. And who's somebody that we'll see either mid to late early 2018? Somebody that you haven't started, but you're thinking, well, maybe I could do that.
It's actually the Marshadow cosplay I was talking about a little earlier.
Okay.
I'm still waiting on my pal, because she asked her if she would design it for me. She's not got back to me about it, so I'm mostly waiting until she's done that, and then I can look into it, because I want to kind of use her design, like instead of like making up my own, because I feel like if I did my own, then I would maybe mess it up and maybe not make it look like Marshadow. So I just don't want to take that risk. You know, it's like I design it and then it looks absolutely rubbish. Like it doesn't look like Marshadow, and I have to explain to people what it's supposed to be. I don't really want to do that.
Every cosplayer's nightmare, having to explain who they are. So, lastly, my last question for you is, what advice would you give somebody who is new to cosplay but is a little unsure where to start?
For me, I started with a character I really enjoyed and I really liked. That's probably what I would say I would start with. But keep it simple. Don't go too extravagant. Like Monkey D. Luffy, that was sort of easy for me to start. So it was like, oh, I could just get this in this shop. I could get this and this, and then easily sew on the buttons, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't go and try and do like an Anri from League of Legends, like the Star Guardians. I wouldn't try any of that to begin with, unless you're really good at making stuff like you're really good at sewing or you're really good at painting, that kind of stuff. But I would keep it simple.
So that being said, guys, that is the bulk of the interview over now. If for some strange reason you cannot get enough of Inside Cosplay, check out the other interviews on the channel. They are possibly in the playlist that you're watching, or if you're just specifically watching this interview, do go over to the Jai452 channel and look at Inside Cosplay. There are many, many different cosplayers there that you can look at. Also, there's some gaming videos there as well. There is a current series running which is, I want to say one of the Telltale games that's running right now, which I try and live stream every Tuesday. Not easy, I know. Also, there is an Injustice 2 series there with the wonderful Lord Blair. Go and check that out. And for some strange reason, if you can't get enough of me, I don't know why, you can find me on this lovely website right here. That's iGameOnline.net. We are a free to sign up website, guys, so do go along. It will not cost you anything. You can check us out on Facebook and also on YouTube, where you can catch up with me when I'm working with the wonderful Whisper Green Top, or the amazing Zelly, or Dark Lee, or Honey Jade, or any other members of the cast. We do have multiple tabletop sessions going if tabletop is your thing. We have a Lord of the Rings role-playing session, which is always really, really fun to see what's happening in Middle-earth. Or if something like Dragonlance is much more your speed, you can tune in and see what's happening with our Dragonlance show. And I do believe at some point in the near future we might be getting a Call of Cthulhu show starting very, very soon. Not 100% sure on that though. However, if you want to really stick to the cosplay, do check out these guys at Any UK, where you can catch up with Kobe Kicks, Alpha Betty, and Little Rascal. See what kind of cosplays they're doing, where they're going, and what they're going to be up to. But in the meantime, guys, do give this video a thumbs up, and maybe even subscribe to it. But if you would like to see what Ellie's up to and where he's going to be going and what events he's going to be doing, now he hopefully will give us some social media links that we can click on and follow him and see what he's up to. So Ellie, if we have any further... actually I should say, don't forget to leave myself or Ellie a comment in the comments section. I think it's like down there. Ellie, do you see it down there? Do leave us a comment, guys, and me or Ellie will do our best to try and comment back. But however, if you do have a comment that you necessarily don't want on a YouTube video, Ellie hopefully will give us a nice little link where we can contact him privately. So Ellie, if we do have any further questions or would like to find out what you're up to, where can we get a hold of you on social media?
You can get a hold of me on Facebook at the Scottish Eliwood Cosplay. That's my Facebook page. Where I'm update here and now. It's for the moment. It's mostly been about. Oh, this is where I'm at my Roy cosplay. That's it. And basically, I've got, if you actually are a Fire Emblem cosplayer and in the Glasgow region for Rycon Spring, I've got a Fire Emblem cosplay meetup for there. If you're interested in that.
So where is that we can get a hold of you again? Just to be sure.
On Facebook at the Scottish Eliwood Cosplay.
Right. And don't worry if you missed that, guys, both times there will be a link in the description of this video, so do go along and click on it and say hi to Eliwood for me. Tell him I sent you. But in the meantime, guys, I've been Jai452. Eliwood's been Eliwood, and this has been Inside Cosplay. We'll be back again with another interview really soon. Bye, guys.
Goodbye.